Okay, so far we just had a quick revision of what will be the Azure exam comprising of the cloud concept, which will be same 25 to 30%, then the Azure architecture and server 25 to 40%, and the Azure management. 45 minutes of exam, around 42 questions, and 70% of the score line, which will be 700 out of 1000. So this was basic about the Azure AZ 900 exam that we will be going on. Now let's come back to this particular topic of ours, cloud computing, the hot topic in the internet right now. Now, thing that comes up is the definition of cloud computing. So what is cloud computing? As you go through this particular definition, that it is basically the delivery of computing services. Computing means the usage of computers. The computing services that includes servers, storage, database, networking, intelligence. For a moment, let go of this particular definition and directly jump to a real world situation. I will be mentioning the example from a very normal side of our life that I always give. It is of a rent and a house, the difference between two. So we are generally having the requirement of living in a particular place. Let's say that I have moved from Uttarakhand to Delhi, and now I want a place to live by. I have two options. First one is that I can rent a particular room, a house, or I can make a new house. So as we look into the economics, the easeability, what will be more better reliable at this particular moment, which services are better. The option comes out here is that to rent a particular room as per my need. Let's say if I am going for a two-room set, might just get comfortable with one room set. If I am having a family, then maybe I will be looking for a more 2 BHK kind of thing. So this concept of renting or making your own particular house in a place is the same concept that comes in the cloud computing. Over the cloud, there are the providers like the Azure that we will be discussing, or the Amazon Web Services IBM. They are already having their infrastructure, services, storage, networking, all of these points that are mentioned here. They are having them, and when they are present over the internet, it is called cloud. So, and we, by choosing these services, we pay them. As in the case of rent, I will be paying accordingly my choice. If I'm going for a, let's say, one room set of 8,000, then I will just need to pay 8,000. And if I'm going for a 2 BHK of 20,000, that would be a different case. Similarly, over the cloud computing, we are having our authority over our selection. And as per our selection, we will be choosing the services and pay accordingly. Now, there are some other points related to the definition that are mentioned in this particular slide. The first one is the efficiency. Efficiency is scaled up because of the reason that whatever our choices will be, we will be using them in a more collaborative way, and therefore our efficiency will get increased. Like, for example, there is a company. Let's say that this company currently required just two systems for the working over the cloud. And if they are having only one system right now at their company, they need one more over the cloud. And when they get over it on the cloud, the efficiency automatically increases. And then there is one other point, scalability. This is like the base of cloud computing, because as per the demand, you can either scale up or you can either scale down. Scale up, scale down is basically the services that you are getting. You need to increase the number or you need to decrease the number. Like, coming back to the real life example, let's say I am only 2%. I am currently living in a two-room set. Now my family wants to shift from Uttarakhand to Delhi, so I need to scale up, and I will be looking for a 2 BHK or a 3 BHK room of larger capacity, right? So this is the need for it. But now, being a curious man, I just wanted to know that why this term was given cloud computing and how the name was given to this particular requirement as cloud computing. Well, the cloud computing specifically, cloud and computing, it was given in 1997 by this person, Ramnath Chalappa. You can search it on Google, you will find a lot many information about this person and also about John McCarthy. Because although the term cloud computing was mentioned in 1997, but the practical application of this particular part where you are joining these services, these infrastructure to make up a uh, more better and large infrastructure. This was already used since 1960s by this person, John McCarthy, in the field of artificial intelligence. He has given some great inputs at the initial time. And at that moment, it was called utility computing, not cloud computing. This came up in 1997. And why it is called specifically the cloud? The reason here is that initially when there were discussions going on about people regarding the server requirement, infrastructure of the network over the internet when it came out, in the initial they used it the cloud. So right now for a layman person, when they understand the cloud, they firstly they will be saying the clouds that are made from the evaporation. But in terms of cybersecurity, it is over the internet. And that is why this particular last line, that the cloud is a widely accepted term for this style of computing, which is done over the internet. Okay, at this point, I haven't covered. So we will be discussing about Microsoft Azure. And there is a story related to this uh, cloud services. So the story is that in 2003, it was started by first Amazon Web Services, but quite a person who could see the near future that in the IT sector, cloud is going to get a boom. So for 2003 to 2015, Amazon did not disclose that what amount of profit were they making from this cloud services. And in 2015, they had a control of more than 90% over the cloud market. In 2015, around that time, they finally disclosed that, okay, because of these cloud services, they are earning this much amount. And soon after that, it was Microsoft and the Google who started 2016. Or no matter how much effort you now put, Microsoft or this Google Cloud or the IBM, around 70 to 80% of market is with our Amazon Web Services. So this was just a small story regarding it. But why this is called Azure is basically the name means bright blue in color like the sky. And this lexicon developed the name Azure. If you are ever interested, like why this was called so and all that, this is the information regarding it. Thereafter, we had discussed about some of the features, on-demand, self-service, data encryption, these all point you can see in the previous video. The framework here is the rules regarding it. Then we discussed about virtualization, which is basically creating virtual instances on the computer resource. Suraj, have you ever done in your computer?
आवाज ब्रेक हो गया था क्या बोला?
Have you ever done virtualization in your computer? कभी ओके सिस्टम में कितने जीबी रैम है?
सर 64
64 GB रैम. तो कभी उसमें मल्टीपल ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम यूज किए हैं?
नो सर
Yes or no?
नो
Okay, so there is virtualization, which is simply you can download a software, VMware, and it will help you to get better your efficiency. You can allocate the RAM, the space into it. This is something we have covered in our previous class, and these are the benefits of this virtualization. Then hypervisor is basically the software which is helping us in virtualization. And there were two types of hypervisor. The first one is which is directly connected to the hardware, and the other one is in between there will be a host operating system. This was the basic difference between two. It was also in the explanation of the diagram. Today we will be discussing about this disaster recovery, and after that we will be talking about this our RPO RTO. This is also small topic, and then there is data center and resource utilization. So we will try to cover this much today. Okay, then we'll start our class. So in the last class we were discussing data center, right?
Yes.
And in that, firstly, we started with basically what is the data center, where data center is the place where the bulk of data servers are placed with proper infrastructure and care being taken care properly. Then mm, this was the basic definition of it. And the main reason for data center was the increasing data and in terms of the infrastructure requirement, the power cooling maintenance, and online as well as offline security. The story behind how the data got increased and therefore the need of these data centers were there in front of us. And we were discussing these types of data centers. So in that, we had already covered this part also, the enterprise data center, which is basically owned by one particular organization or one particular big organization like the Google having their own data center, Azure having their own data center where they store their very own data. Then there was managed services data center, which will be done by third parties for a nearby area. Rexec, CenturyLink, they are all examples. Then cloud-based data center, the one that we are discussing throughout this course, like Azure of Microsoft or the Amazon Web Services, IBM Cloud, they are which are present over the internet. Co-location data center, which are basically rental, and edge data center, which are geographically closer to the network of your, so that you know that physically the location of the data center is known to you. So this was quick recap, and then this was the tiers of data center that we will be discussing first. So basically, on the requirement of data center, there are further tiers of it. As the name in the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, they are basically the levels of data center. Tier 1 will be having a data center of, let's say, initial capabilities. Tier 2 will be upgradation of tier 1, and so on, going with tier 3 being better than tier 2, and tier 4 being better than tier 3. So now, what is the key difference here? So in the tier 1, you can see that the availability here is 99.671%. And what does it mean? This 99.671% means that it is basically the uptime of a system.